listener, and welcome back to another episode of Plot Amor.
Woo!
I am your host, Melissa, here with my beloved husband, Peter, and I am very excited about today, because today I get to talk about my favorite holiday, Valentine's Day.
Yay!
As I've established, I have for my entire life been completely preoccupied with love. I've been possessed by it, fixated on it, and I love falling in love, I love fiercely, and I love other people falling in love, and I love celebrating their love. And I think we all should.
Yeah.
And I think love is the best thing that we get to experience in this life. We should have a holiday where we take a beat and just appreciate it, love in all forms. And I think, in my opinion, especially romantic love.
Damn straight.
So we thought it would be cool this week to look into the history of Valentine's Day and how it evolved over the years and how we celebrate it. And I'll go ahead and end this with good and bad Reddit stories about Valentine's Day.
Nice, yeah, because actually, you know what, I'm excited for this because I back in the day used to think that Valentine's Day was like such a corporate holiday. You know, it used to be like so manufactured, I thought, but I was corrected, thankfully, so I think you'll go a little bit into that. So it's really interesting once you actually delve into it rather than just like the modern incarnation of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you kind of got ahead of me. I was going to ask you, what is your current philosophy on Valentine's Day?
Well, considering that I'm married to you, the love of my life, I love Valentine's Day now. It's my favorite time because I get to celebrate us and I get to celebrate you and me and everything that we've been through and everything that we're going to do. So I really like it as a holiday to like reflect on our relationship, where we've been, where we're going, and just take a second out of our busy lives to remind ourselves how much we love and care for each other.
That's great. I appreciate that. I think that for me personally, I always ask people with such enthusiasm, you know? Like,
yeah,
I'm really excited about it. I'm like, it's written all over my face. What are you doing for Valentine's Day? Do you have any plans? And the reaction I usually get is something along the lines of like, ew, I would never.
Gross.
Yeah. I would never celebrate that bullshit holiday.
How dare you?
I know. Or even more sanctimonious than that, and it really gets under my skin.
Oh no.
Is we're supposed to celebrate all year long. I know. I know.
Those people are usually single.
No. Like, I know you're in a relationship. I know that we should be doing these things all the time.
And we do.
And we do. But I have a feeling, I have like this sneaking suspicion that people that are really sanctimonious about it, and they say that shit, like, oh, you know, he should be doing that, she should be doing that all the time.
Yeah.
I would never. I have a feeling that they're not doing that all the time. That's what you want it to be like, but I highly doubt that
it's like people without kids, like lecturing people on like, well, if I had kids, I would do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, cool, that's great, but that's also spoken like somebody who doesn't have kids. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to think you know what you want and what you're going to do, but it's another to actually do it and apply yourself.
I agree. And I understand completely that corporations have heavily cornered the Valentine's Day market. I know that they make a lot of money off of all of us, but I think that the intent behind the gestures are still pure and beautiful.
Right. And it's not like, I think it's important to note that like the holiday for all intents and purposes comes first. The corporate cashing in on it is something that follows the holiday. Like the idea that it was manufactured purely for profit or purely for like corporations and Hallmark to cash in on it is, I think, you know, a bit cliche and just honestly false, which as we'll go into.
Yeah, I just want to focus on the positive. Oh, what beautiful flowers. You love me, you were thinking about me, and you wanted to demonstrate that with a token. I appreciate that so much.
Or just writing a card.
Right.
Like, honestly, flowers and writing a card is so... Just putting pen to paper and putting your thoughts down into writing is just such a great gesture, especially in this digital age. You know, it really shows that you care and that you want to apply that.
It does, and I am going to circle back to that point that you just made at the end of all this, because I am sad that, you know, just with the times, it's all becoming a little more modernized, and that's not always good. But,
oh no.
Yeah, it is what it is. I did want to say Saint Valentine is the patron saint of lovers, people with epilepsy, and beekeepers, among other things.
Wait, Saint Valentine is the patron saint of people with epilepsy?
Yes.
When did that start? That's so interesting.
A long time.
I was raised Catholic and I didn't know that. Epilepsy?
Yeah.
There's a saint of epilepsy
Yeah.
and beekeepers. Interesting. It feels like St. Valentine was used as kind of like a catch-all. They're like, you'll be the saint of love and beekeepers and small marsupials. Like, cool, man.
Yeah, there's a finite number of saints. They gotta
Yeah,
stretch it out a
there's
little
only
bit.
so many things we can allocate to the saints, all right? That's great.
But I'm actually kind of frustrated that I can't trace the history of Valentine's Day back to a single event or a single person. It's kind of a weird menagerie of historical events that have kind of culminated in this holiday. As I
Really?
found out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Christmas, like how it all became
Right.
like, it's all like winter solstice that just like evolved over the eras.
Yeah, but even more than that. It would be like, yeah, it was winter solstice, but there was also a guy who gave presents, and there was somebody else, you know?
And you had a Yule log. It's like, for some reason, yeah, and it all just sort of culminated in this holiday. That's kind of interesting. Okay, cool. I want to see the origins of it.
We do know that February has long been celebrated as a month of romance, and that St. Valentine's Day, as it's known today, contains vestiges of both Christian and ancient Roman tradition.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but who was St. Valentine and how did he become associated with this ancient rite? And again, I say, who was he, but it was multiple people.
Oh, really? I always thought there was one.
Okay, there's a predominant one.
Oh,
There's
okay.
a predominant one. The Catholic Church recognizes at least 3 different saints named Valentine, all of whom were martyred, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunately a prerequisite to be a saint.
I know, especially in like ancient Rome, we did so much murder.
Yeah. You want to be a saint? You're gonna die horribly. Like, cool.
One
Sign me up.
legend contends that Valentine was a priest who served during the 3rd century in Rome. St. Valentine supposedly wore a purple amethyst ring, customarily worn on the hands of Christian bishops, with an image of Cupid engraved on it, a recognizable symbol associated with love that was legal under the Roman Empire.
Huh.
So Roman soldiers would recognize the ring and ask him to perform marriages for them. And probably due to the association with St. Valentine, amethyst has become the birthstone of February, which is thought to attract love. And I think that is so sweet.
Interesting. That's so fascinating too, because I always thought that Roman soldiers were not able to marry.
Okay.
It was like illegal for Roman soldiers to be married.
So when Emperor Claudius II decided that single men made better soldiers than those with wives and families,
Claudius, you son of a bitch!
he outlawed marriage for young men. Valentine, realizing the injustice of the decree, defied Claudius and continued to perform marriages for young lovers in secret. When Valentine's actions were discovered, Claudius ordered that he be put to death. St. Valentine was persecuted as a Christian and interrogated by Roman Emperor Claudius II in person.
Oh no.
Claudius was impressed with Valentine and had a discussion with him, attempting to get him to convert to Roman paganism in order to save his life. Valentine refused and tried to convert Claudius to Christianity instead.
Ooh, touche. Nice.
Because of this, he was executed.
Oh,
I know.
He didn't. It
Cut his
failed.
head off.
It didn't
Yeah.
work. He remained unconvinced. Damn.
Before his execution, he is reported to have performed a miracle by healing Julia, the blind daughter of his jailer, Asterius.
Wow.
The jailer's daughter and his 46-member household, family members, and servants came to believe in Jesus and were baptized. So this kind of epically backfired on Claudius II.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
An 18th century embellishment to the legend claims that he wrote the jailer's daughter a letter signed "From your Valentine" as a farewell before they killed him.
Aw.
Yeah, and according to legend, Julia herself planted a pink-blossomed almond tree near his grave. And today, the almond tree remains a symbol of abiding love and friendship. How sweet is that?
What a sweet and yet tragic story. That's so sad. My God.
I know.
Executed for marrying people. Wow.
I know. Tragic.
I usually am a fan of Rome, but I'm not a fan of that one. That seems like a misguided policy.
I had no idea that they outlawed marriage.
Like they said, a lot of emperors, I think, did that periodically because it was seen that, like, love is the death of duty. So they're like, you serve the empire first and your legion first, and if you're running off to, like, go home to some woman you're married to, that makes you less of a loyal soldier, you know what I mean? So I get it in theory. I think in practice it's sloppy and doesn't really work that way. But
It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Jedi.
a little bit.
Tiny bit?
A little bit.
It's like no distractions. Only
Yeah,
duty.
the Jedi are more philosophical about it, but yeah, more like Buddhist about it because it's more about like avoiding attachments because that leads to the dark side. But as we all know, but no, that's actually a really good point. But it is kind of like that. It allows you to focus on the important thing of the time, which is war. You know, can't focus on love when you got all this war to engage in. Come on.
Still, others insist that it was St. Valentine of Terni, a bishop who was the true namesake of the holiday, and is said to have also been martyred during their persecution under Emperor Aurelian in 273. He is buried in the Via Flaminia, but in a different location because the other Valentine was also buried there.
Oh, fascinating.
And the Catholic Encyclopedia speaks of a third saint named Valentine who was mentioned in early martyrologies.
Martyrologies? Is that a thing?
It's a thing.
The study of martyrdom. Wow.
He was martyred in Africa with a number of companions. Yikes. But nothing more is known of him. So, just another Valentine who was martyred February 14th.
Oh, on February 14th, though. That's interesting. That's probably why we associate the holiday itself with the 14th. Interesting.
The 8th century Galatian sacramentary recorded the celebration of the Feast of St. Valentine on February 14th. The day became associated with romantic love in the 14th and 15th centuries, with notions of courtly love flourished, apparently by association with the lovebirds of early spring.
Aw, how sweet.
Yeah, the English poet Geoffrey Chaucer was the first to record
Chaucer.
St. Valentine's Day as a day of romantic celebration in his 1375 poem, Parliament of Fowls. The Paston Letters, written in 1477 by Marjorie Bruce to her future husband John Paston, my right well-beloved Valentine.
Aw, so sweet.
St. Valentine's Day is also mentioned ruefully by Ophelia in William Shakespeare's Hamlet.
I don't remember that, and I love Hamlet.
Tomorrow is St. Valentine's Day, all in the morning betime, and I a maid at your window to be your Valentine. Then up he rose and donned his clothes, and dunned the chamber door. Let in the maid, let out a maid, never departed more. In 18th century England, it grew into an occasion for couples to express their love for each other by presenting flowers, offering confectionery, and sending greeting cards known as Valentines. Printed cards began to replace written letters due to improvements in printing technology. Ready-made cards were an easy way for people to express their emotions in a time when direct expression of one's feelings was discouraged. That's so funny to me. It's similar
Keep
today.
that shit in a card. Yeah. I don't want to hear that shit
Don't
come
say
out of
it
your...
out loud.
Write that
Write
shit
it
down. It's between you and God. Oh, this is so funny.
In the 19th century, handmade cards gave way to mass-produced greetings. In 1835, 60,000 Valentine's cards were sent by post in the United Kingdom, despite postage being very expensive at that time. In the 1840s, Esther A. Howland began selling the first mass-produced Valentines in America. Howland, known as the Mother of Valentine, made elaborate creations with real lace, ribbons, and colorful pictures known as scrap.
It's so interesting to see how it evolved through culture. So it's just following the path so far, we've gone from Rome, both pagan Rome, into Christian Rome, and then throughout Christendom, we got into the United Kingdom all the way down in the 19th century. So that's what they said he was persecuted by Aurelian in 270. So it's 1600 years. It's so interesting to me that this holiday has been so persistent, despite in that 1800 year period, a lot happened. You know what I mean? Christianity was adopted in the empire, and then the empire fell apart, and modern Europe arose, and all these wars, and all this other conflicts, and countries rising, falling. And in the midst of that, there's this continuous emphasis on love and courtship. It's really cool how it's survived throughout the centuries and evolved as it has. It's so cool.
I agree. That is very neat to see it.
Yeah. And that's where we get scrap from. I didn't know that's because I always wondered where that term originated. It makes sense. I just wondered where its originations were.
I think she's really interesting because her father operated a large book and stationery store, and she took the inspiration from an English Valentine she had received from a business associate of her father. Intrigued with the idea of making similar Valentines, Helen began her business by importing paper lace and floral decorations from England. And since 2001, the The Greeting Card Association has been giving an annual...
The Greeting Card Association?
Yes.
The Council of 12?
There's an official Greeting Card Association.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's nerdy as hell.
And they have
That's
the
great.
Esther Howland Award for Greeting Card Visionary that they give out, I think, annually.
Would you use that as a flex? And we were
Oh,
like,
for
I'm
sure.
actually a member of the Greeting Card Association. Yeah, no big deal.
I bet they take themselves very seriously.
I bet they do. I bet they do so hard. I'm a member of the Greeting Card Association. Do you know who I am?
A writer in Graham's American Monthly observed in 1849, St. Valentine's Day is becoming, nay, it has become a national holiday.
Nay.
1868, the British chocolate company Cadbury created fancy
Okay, they're still
boxes
around.
in the shape of a heart for Valentine's Day.
Oh, wow. That's been around for...
Since 1868.
So that's 160 years? Wow. It's like 200 years of candy boxes.
They nailed it.
They really nailed it. Yeah, they were just like, let's make it in the shape of a heart. This'll endure for hundreds of years. This'll last longer than many countries. Like, that's crazy to me.
Imagine coming up with an idea that's that enduring.
Fucking crushed it. Okay.
In 1969, revision of the Roman Catholic calendar of saints, the feast day of St. Valentine on February 14th was relegated from the general Roman calendar to regional calendars for the following reason.
Huh.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful. Jeez.
Though the memorial of St. Valentine is ancient, it is left to particular calendars since recognized. Apart from his name, nothing is known of St. Valentine except that he was buried on the Via Flaminia on February 14th. Therefore, as he remains within the Roman martyrology, he may be recognized optionally during Mass outside of Christmastide and Eastertide.
Christmastide and Eastertide. Like,
I
what the
love
hell?
those words.
I know.
Christmas-
I'm a Catholic and I never heard Christmastide.
Really?
Is it a fortnight past Christmastide? Nay. It is a fortnight before Eastertide.
It sounds so official.
It does. It sounds official as hell.
Very formal.
Very formal. Which, that is Roman Catholic as hell. It's all very, very formal.
I just love the idea of, like, in Catholicism, it just every holiday being a tide.
Yuletide,
Valentine-tide.
Eastertide.
Yeah.
Everything is a tide. That's great. Just add tide at the end of it. It sounds official.
In addition to the United States, Valentine's Day is celebrated in Canada, Mexico, the United Kingdom, France, and Australia. In Great Britain, Valentine's Day began to be popularly celebrated around the 17th century.
You know, I'm going to say something that I'm ignorant about, and I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it. I did not realize that not every single country celebrates Valentine. And now that I say it out loud, I'm like, of course they don't, you fucking idiot. Like, of course it's going to be like a Western tradition. But I didn't think about that. I thought, like, I mean, I'm sure other countries have their equivalent. It's just not Valentine's Day, you know? And I'm sure it's some random other day. Like, it's so weird to me. Anyway, go on.
I won't judge you.
Thank you.
We're learning constantly. That's
Thanks.
what this is about.
Thanks, babe. It's a safe space.
Okay, so this is the important part.
What?
In Italy, St. Valentine's keys are given to lovers as a romantic symbol and an invitation to unlock the giver's heart, which is so beautiful. But it's also given to children to ward off epilepsy.
Oh,
So
keys.
that's how we kind of bring that full
Keys?
circle.
They give them keys.
Yeah, to ward off epilepsy.
That's so interesting.
So I think the epilepsy thing is predominantly in Italy.
They're like, look, we got to find some way to link the epilepsy to this guy. Give him a key. I don't know.
The keys also work for this. The U.S. Greeting Card Association, so they're back now.
Those guys. The well-known U.S. Greeting Card Association.
Estimates that approximately 190 million Valentines are sent each year in the United States, and half of those Valentines are given to family members other than husband or wife, usually to children. And when the Valentine exchange cards made in school activities are included, the figure goes up to 1 billion.
Wow.
And teachers become the people receiving the most Valentines.
Aww. As they should.
Yeah,
As
it's
they
appropriate.
should.
The increase in use of the internet around the turn of the millennium is creating new traditions. Every year, millions of people use digital means of creating and sending Valentine's Day greeting messages, such as e-cards, love coupons, and printable greeting cards.
Ugh.
I know.
I don't like that.
I don't either.
I don't like it. I mean, I guess it's better than nothing, but like...
Barely.
And maybe this is why, and maybe this is me showing my age, you know, and showing my kind of older generational philosophy. But again, it's like, when you make something tangible and you know, it is something that you put your effort into, and it's handmade and it's handwritten, even if it's not super fancy or, you know, interactive or digital or whatever, I feel like that shows more care. You had to go out. You had to get that. You had to sit down and put your thoughts to paper to somebody that you really care about. And I just, even if it's the most eloquent, articulate love letter, if you write it in an email, it just cheapens it. I just feel like there's no way to like get around the fact that digital cheapens it versus analog. You know what I mean?
I agree with that completely.
And that's maybe me being old-fashioned, but if you sent me an e-card for Valentine's Day, I would be fucking pissed. I'd be like, this is the like fucking least common denominator bullshit right here.
He's serious about this.
I am fucking serious.
I won't send you an e-card ever.
Don't do
worry.
it. I'll be upset.
According to the National Retail Federation, Americans spend an average of $186 on Valentine's gifts.
Wow.
Totaling about $26 billion nationwide.
$26 billion for a single day of business?
Right.
Not bad.
And I think that's where a lot of the resentment comes from.
I guess that's where the commercialization comes from. I mean, that's a lot of tacos, I'm not gonna lie.
But it's for a beautiful purpose.
Yeah, totally.
More than 250 million roses are produced for Valentine's Day, according to the Society of American Florists.
There's all these fucking... the Greeting Card Association has an annual luncheon with the Society of American Florists.
And the National Retail Federation.
And the National Retail Federation.
Right.
Like, the fuck is this shit?
Okay, so a YouGov survey found that only 30% of Americans thought it was a real special occasion, with most people preferring holidays like New Year's Eve, Halloween, and Memorial Day. Of course, you're going to prefer, you know, bigger holidays. I get that, but
I guess
it does hurt my feelings.
You don't get a day off like on Labor Day or Memorial Day, so I get. But you don't get a day off for Halloween. That's weird that Halloween jumps it.
I know, but Halloween has such a special vibe.
Yeah, that's less of a love vibe, but
right.
Yeah, definitely. I can see it.
It's for literally every single person. I think everybody feels really included in Halloween. I was
surprised by that metric, 190 million. That's like what the United States population is 330 million, so that's like approximately like one out of every two people receives a Valentine, and if you increase it to like include the kids, it's what, 1 billion? That's like 3 Valentines per citizen. That's really interesting. That's cool statistics. I never had it broken down like that.
I know.
I always kind of wondered how ubiquitous it was. Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. That brings us up to modern times with the e-cards. Please don't send
That's
e-cards.
the story. Please don't send us e-cards for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, please just take a moment and just, even on any piece of paper,
just write it down and send it to us, and that's perfect.
We'll appreciate it.
We'll appreciate it. We'll frame it. It'll be great.
Okay. Now for the Reddit stories.
All right, so let's see how people are. Before we dive into that, I just want to poke your brain real quick.
Okay,
so,
please.
what was the most interesting thing in there to you about like the history of Valentine's? Like, was there any surprises in there for you, or was there something that you kind of didn't expect in there that like kind of took an interesting turn, or is it mostly kind of what you already knew about?
The most surprising thing to me, I think, was that this goes back to Rome.
Yeah, that was the most surprising to me too.
It goes back so far.
I didn't expect that. I thought I was gonna guess like Saint Valentine lived originally. I was gonna guess like late Roman Empire, like 5th century, 6th century, or later.
I honestly had no idea. You could have told me that Valentine's Day started in 1900, and I would have believed you that there was something.
And the Greeting Card Association of America created it
right.
on February 14th, 1900.
I would have been like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, all right. Yeah,
but
yeah,
no.
and I think that's a lot of. You know what? that's interesting though, because I think that's where a lot of misconceptions about Valentine's Day comes from, is that not a lot, I didn't know a lot of this history, you know, so no wonder so many people think of it as like a Hallmark holiday or some sort of manufactured holiday, because you don't have this incredible lineage just off the top of your head. I mean, again, that's like going back from that's like 1800 years of acknowledging love. Like, obviously there must be something to it, because it has persisted through Western civilization for almost 2000, almost as long as Jesus. You know what I mean? It's very really persistent.
It's celebrating a beautiful, worthwhile thing,
and it's not divisive in any way. Wow. I don't think so. I mean, it's like, I feel like no matter what religion you are, or what your sexuality is, or any of your identity, like I think we can all agree that celebrating and venerating love is a noble pursuit. And if you don't, you're probably a pretty bitter person.
I was just going to say, I think I sent you the word bitter, because there is a lot of bitterness.
Oh, I can only imagine. But I can only imagine the vitriol.
To our point, again, in 1375, the poem mentioned St. Valentine's Day. So that's, I mean, even
Shakespeare, wrote about it. I'm amazed that Shakespeare wrote about it. I mean, Shakespeare was 1600s, so I mean, that's like... Wow, that's pretty crazy. And he was writing about it like 1,200 years after it started. Right. You know what I mean? That's blowing my mind. Yeah.
And also, I have to say, I love the birthstone origin.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I think it's interesting that a Christian bishop would have worn an amethyst with an icon of Cupid on it. Like, that literally must have been something just to appease the empire. Because, like, iconography or idolatry of that nature is often restricted in the Roman Catholic Church. You know what I mean? Like, because it's considered idolatry. So that's so interesting that, like, you had to kind of rep the gods a little bit in order to, like, function within the empire. It's adding, like, an element of politics.
Okay, so now for the Reddit stories.
Yes, let's dive into the Reddit stories. Let's hear these fucking disasters.
People of Reddit, what was your favorite Valentine's Day and also your worst?
Uh-oh. Okay. God, I bet some of these are going to be so painful. Jesus.
Someone writes, mine was 10 years ago. While a sophomore in college, my girlfriend at the time rented a limo for the two of us, rented me a tux, made reservations at a fancy French restaurant, lied and told them it was our 1-year anniversary.
Wow.
And we got comped a free bottle of wine. We were both underage. And then afterwards, rode around in the limo listening to Bob Marley. It was the best Valentine's Day ever.
That is a good one.
I know.
Damn.
Isn't that epic?
Why didn't you wife her up? That's a good girlfriend right there. Damn, son.
Yeah.
Bob Marley in a limo is a weird juxtaposition, though.
It is.
Bob Marley, like, if somebody rolled up in a limo blasting Bob Marley, I don't really know what to make of you. Like, are you about peace and love? Like, I don't know. Or, like, I don't know. I like it.
It could be about both things.
It could be both. Yeah, I guess so.
Someone else wrote, he bought me comics and we ordered pizza and drank beer and banged. It was perfect.
Hey, keep it simple. All right.
Okay, best, we went to a nice steakhouse with my boyfriend, ate the best lobster bisque ever, brought home some key lime pie to split, put on some Victoria's Secret lingerie that I bought just for that night, and nice. I was 20 and skinny and perky.
Nice.
And my boyfriend said, I love you for the first time, and we banged like all night. It was magical.
Nice. All right. That's a good night.
That is a good night.
It's a good night. It's solid.
All right, here we go. Worst. My boyfriend and I were trying to decide whether to split up or stay together when we graduated. I went out the night before. Well. I went out the night before, got really drunk, threw up, peed myself, and was so hungover the next day that we had to cancel our dinner plans. I spent the day shivering in misery, and we almost broke up again, and I cried for hours.
Wow.
It's a bad
Wow, that's a pretty bad night. That's a pretty bad night, man. And then Valentine's Day is the next day, and then you get dumped on Valentine's Day. Oh!
Yeah, and also, why would you wait until Valentine's Day to try and decide if you're going to stay together
or
not?
that was a pretty stupid decision, yeah. Yeah, and the fact that you got that wasted the night before, it's just a lot of bad choices. I feel like, you weren't thinking clearly there, sweetheart.
Did I ever tell you, this is like a totally random aside.
What?
I was watching one night Rock of Love with Bret Michaels, and I realized that my boyfriend and I at the time were not going to work out.
Really? Thank you, Bret Michaels.
Yeah.
Like,
Something about watching it, I was like, oh, fuck, we're not going to make it. And so I just went to the liquor store and just bought a bunch of booze, and I brought it over to his house, and all of our friends were there, and we just had an impromptu rager, just a party.
I think I remember you telling me this.
Yeah.
I think
it was like my we're breaking up party.
I don't remember the Rock of Love part, but I
Yeah.
remember you telling me that you like knew that there was something that made you realize that you were not going to make it with this person,
Yeah.
and that you just decided to go get a bunch of booze and just like, you know what? There's a
Yeah.
lot of pain in the world, but not in this room tonight. Like, not in this place.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's a
Bret
cool way to
Michaels.
deal with it. Bret Michaels, thank
know.
you. You're a real class act.
Yeah, but also, it doesn't always have to be so sad. Sometimes you can just... That was the most mature I think I've ever been about a breakup, honestly. To this day.
Those reality shows are good for that. Sometimes you watch it and just something clicks. You're watching Flavor Flav up there and you're just like, this isn't going to work out.
I should call my mom or something like that. Okay. Best was came home after a red-eye flight to a candle-lined jacuzzi tub with hot water waiting,
Nice.
a chilled bottle of wine on the ledge, and a basket of Lush bath goodies.
Nice. After a red-eye flight.
Right.
That's a great way to get off a red-eye flight.
Solid.
Yeah.
Worst, huge blizzard where we stayed in and bickered all day.
Yikes.
Yeah.
It's the wrong thing to be doing in a blizzard.
That's
That's a dark day.
This is a couple, like so many couples during the pandemic that broke up.
Yeah.
It's like you're put into these tight quarters.
It's a
and
good point.
You just fight.
Yeah, that's really like a test. That really is like a test for the relationship. It's like, can you be in close quarters and not escape from this person and not want to like stab them?
I just can't imagine being with someone where it's like we need to spend most of our time apart.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll fight.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I just don't want to be with them for too long, or I want to kill them with my bare hands. It's
Isn't
like,
that a red
okay,
flag?
that is a red flag. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, best. Last year, the guy I just started dating surprised me by leaving chocolate, a bone for my dog, and a sweet note out on the table where he'd leave his key for me in the mornings. That night, my best friends and I all had a Valentines party where we got too drunk, too high, and played board games all night. Sounds like the right amount of drunk.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't sound like too drunk and high. It sounds like just the right amount. If you're sober enough to be able to play board games, you're not that drunk and high.
So wasted.
Yeah, so wasted. Anyway, I'm gonna like count my change in Monopoly. It's like, no, dude, you're doing just fine.
I don't know why this reminds me. I'm getting reminded of all kinds of things. I'm like,
You're getting like
my whole
trauma.
past year.
Ha! Ha!
No, I remember it was my birthday. I don't know what birthday it was, but we had some friends over and we were playing a card game, but it was a drinking card game. It was like Never Have I Ever or something like that, but with cards.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to die of alcohol poisoning.
I haven't done any, like, I've done all these things. Oh wait, so you drink if you have done it, right? Yeah, so yeah, you
But it was like made for me for some reason. It was like Melissa's version of
and they
this
were like,
game.
damn it, this is the
know.
Melissa edition.
I
Like, holy
can't.
shit.
Okay, let's see. Worst Valentines 2012. They have a specific year.
Oh no.
My long-distance boyfriend tried to get flowers delivered to my parents' house, but they were hellishly late in arriving. I couldn't wait around for them because I had a test the next day and had a study group to go to, and when I finally took a picture to send him, they weren't what he'd ordered, so he got pissed and took it out on me. He also yelled at me for not posting a picture to Facebook like his sister had, and called me an ungrateful pain in the ass.
Wow. That spiraled.
Yeah.
That spiraled a lot. Although it is fucked up. It is fucked up to deliver flowers really late on Valentine's Day because you usually have to pay extra so that they do arrive. And then they arrive fucking late. But extremely poor choice to take it out like it's her fault. You dumb bitch! My flowers for you were late. Like, this is your fault. Like, okay, we're going to be together forever, I can tell.
I also feel like It's never a good move to get upset about your flowers not being exactly what you expected.
Yeah, something's better than nothing.
It is, and also it's like, it's still beautiful.
It's also really weird. I'm sure it's innocent, but I think it's very strange that he was like, you didn't post to Facebook like my sister. It's a weird thing to say on Valentine's Day. My sister posted a loving poem to me. Where was yours? Like, what is this eatable bullshit? That's crazy.
He's gonna be comparing all of his girlfriends to his sister for like his whole life. Best, I planned a surprise outing for my boyfriend. I took him to get a couples massage and then dinner afterwards. He had no idea where we were going until we arrived. The massage was 45 minutes, and then afterwards they gave us champagne and brownies while we watched the snow outside. And then we went to dinner at my favorite Italian restaurant. It was great.
Nice. A lot of girls planning some really great outings on this one. Yeah.
I agree.
Where are the boys? Let's bring it back, guys. Come on. We're looking like schmucks here.
Best, college roommate and I drank Arbor Mist, made Nutella cupcakes, and watched the entire first season of Weeds while talking shit on all the boys we'd ever dated.
Nice.
That is good.
Sounds
See,
pretty...
and that's platonic. You know, just roommates having a good Valentine's Day together.
A little Galentine's Day. That's
yeah.
nice. Nice.
Worst, college boyfriend wanted to cook us dinner, made a food that was too spicy for me to eat, so he ate it all himself, gave himself... food poisoning, and spent the entire night alternating between the bed and the toilet, and at some point in the night, his best friend calls because he got dumped, so I spent the entire night catering to both boys and hating romance.
Wow.
That's brutal.
That's brutal. Jesus God.
Best was, last year, my significant other made lobster risotto, ceviche, and white chocolate mousse, while I bought the wine to go with the meal. So freaking delicious and perfect. We were super stuffed, so adult fun time happened the next day.
Nice.
Worst was Valentine's Day 2010. I got my period that day.
Oh, no.
And while the guy I was dating at the time decided to buy pizza and play single-player video games all night, and he dumped me the next day.
Oh, fuck, that's brutal.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. What a fuckboy. That's like such a lame way to go about that. Jesus.
Yeah, I guess you can be here while I eat pizza and play video games.
And then, oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to break up with you. Like, wow, dude. While she's on her period, you're lucky you're not fucking dead.
That's true. That's brutal. That's insult to injury.
That's playing with fire, man. You're rolling some dice.
Best was, this is cute because it's optimistic. I'm hoping it's this year. I've been with my boyfriend for 4 years now, and since he hates Valentine's Day, we never celebrate. Last year, we finally came to the compromise that we'd alternate years celebrating it, since I love it. So far, the plan is to go to this fancy tea place in the afternoon, then head out of town to this fancy hotel, have dinner somewhere, and then get massages the next day before we go home.
Okay.
Wow, you know, there are some red flags there, though.
Yeah, I mean, he hates it. We've never celebrated it.
Yeah, but now we're going to compromise and alternate years. I want to meet the man that hates the ideal of celebrating love so much that he's like, you get every other year.
Every 2 years.
Yeah.
Every 2 years I'll do that shit.
Isn't it just it's a once a year thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's 1 day a year that you can show your affection, I mean, and outside of all the others, and you don't want to do that. That's a bridge too far. Psh. Sounds like a fucking scrub.
It does sound like a scrub.
Right?
I wonder if, like, their best, because she was optimistic about it hadn't happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if it involved them, like, breaking up instead.
Fingers crossed. Hopefully he breaks up with me, because he's a fucking loser.
Worst was, I was dating this guy briefly, like 5 months. He didn't get me a gift, not even a card. Oh well, we went out to dinner and went and got some movies to watch back at his place. We sexted up, and then he took me home because I had an early class the next day. When I woke up, I saw a text from him breaking up with me that he'd sent while we were at dinner the night before. My phone had been at his place while we were there, and I had bad cell reception. I was humiliated.
What a fuckboy.
Wow.
That is so lame. Holy shit. Holy shit. That is brutal.
Man, that he sent her a breakup text and then got
and
some
then was
movies.
like, fuck it. You know what? I might as well. She clearly didn't get it, so I might as well get one last night out of this.
I know, that's
fucking
brutal.
fuckboy, man.
What a jerk.
Yeah, what a dick.
Worst, this year my boyfriend wouldn't let me open my present even though I'd given him his, and he wouldn't spend much time with me. Ended up going on a boat with his sister, and we got wet because it rained, and when I came back I wasn't allowed upstairs to put dry clothes on.
What?
But the best, same boyfriend, same year, it turned out the reason he'd done all of this and wouldn't let me upstairs to get changed was because he was proposing. So actually, it was the best Valentine's Day ever.
So it was like the worst and the best at the same time. Wow, what a Hail Mary.
I know.
You really pulled that off, man. All right, look, you can do that once. Where it's like, look, I know this has been a bad day, but I'm proposing to you. Like, you can do that once in a row. You can play that card once. Well done, sir.
All right, what are just some generally sweet things your Valentine has done for you? A girl I dated led me around a scavenger hunt that had my favorite snacks and candies scattered around my apartment complex, and by the time I got back to my place, she was waiting for me on my bed with more snacks. It was pretty great.
Nice.
That is
It's a pretty good scavenger hunt.
I know.
It's a nice prize at the
You
end.
know what? I feel like scavenger hunts are not implemented readily enough, in my opinion.
The scavenger hunts are very easy to do wrong. I feel like scavenger hunts can easily turn south pretty bad.
Really?
I mean, depending on the context, yeah. It's like throughout the woods, somewhere in these woods is an engagement ring. If you can find it by dawn, I will marry thee.
You know what? That's fair.
Like, it just, I don't know. You have to do it right.
I remember when I was growing up, we would occasionally, like at a sleepover or something, have a slumber party game where you did a scavenger hunt, but you went to neighboring houses and asked if they had things.
What?
Yeah. So you would get your things from random people. Random households.
It's the most 90s thing I've ever
I
heard.
know, but
So
it was
fucking
magical.
90s.
And literally, nobody that answered the door was annoyed that you were doing this.
Yeah.
They were all just excited.
Come on in here. It's the 90s.
Right.
Like, we're bored.
Sure, let me check.
Nothing's
Yeah.
on TV right now. Like, come on in. Like, that's so funny. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. People would be
No.
so fucking annoyed.
Yeah.
What do you want?
I know.
Get the fuck off my property.
No, people would be hostile today.
Here's an Amazon box. Get the fuck out of here. There's nothing in it.
I'm also willing to bet that 9 out of 10 people would not even
Yeah,
answer
wouldn't
the
even
door.
answer the door.
Yeah.
They would just, you have to hit like the little ring button. They'd be like, go away.
I know.
Like, fuck off.
Do you have,
I
know.
Do you have things?
A new video game I really wanted at the time had just come out, and I chose not to buy it so I could spend the money on her. So she surprised me with it after we had a Valentine's Day dinner.
That's very sweet.
So sweet.
That's very sweet.
Very
I'm not gonna
thoughtful.
lie.
Perfect for him. I gave her a sexy/naughty... Here you go. This is a guy.
Nice.
A sexy/naughty calendar of me doing household chores, wearing only an apron, and a week of nightly foot rubs, and I made her cinnamon rolls from scratch, and I hid 50 Ferrero Rocher around the house.
Nice. Would you love me if I did like a naughty calendar? Me in an apron, like dusting and stuff. Ooh, like, you know. 12 months of sexiness, you know, just tasteful, obviously.
Yeah, I would. I would love that. That would be a great gift, honestly. Okay, this is epic, and you're never gonna get this.
Okay. All right.
But credit where it's due, this chick is a mastermind.
Okay.
She says, I do this for my boyfriend.
I do this every night with my boyfriend. I'm like, what the fuck?
I spend a couple of weeks figuring out what he's currently into with sex. I stalk his porn history, and I ask a few innocent probing questions just to get the scene right. I do this, and then I try to go all out. So this year, I got us a hotel room in my home city, and we're probably going to end up at a strip club after dinner. He's been really into destroying the beautiful. So I've been buying fancy, beautiful clothes, dresses, lingerie, me shoes, getting my hair and nails done, just with the sole purpose of destroying everything, including me, once we're back at the hotel.
Nice.
I've got an antique straight razor for him to cut me out of my clothes, plus a whole room full of destruction-type sex toys. I think he enjoys it more than a tie or a new tool.
Wow. This chick is down.
I know.
This chick is down. Holy shit.
I know.
A straight razor. That could go wrong. Straight razors are sharp, man. Like, seriously. That chick is fucking down to clown, though. Holy shit.
She is.
Nice.
Props to you
Yeah.
wherever you are.
You make the world go round.
Yeah, that's dedication. You know, she really wants him to have a good time.
And how?
Okay, 8 years ago, the girl I was dating gave me a CD with a playlist of songs that she picked out that were meaningful to her. Some about our relationship, some just for fun, and some because of other events in her life. And even the first song we danced together to. Along with it, she also had a note, just a sentence or two describing what each song meant to her. It was the most meaningful and appreciated gift I've ever received in any relationship because it meant so much to me that she opened herself up like that. So that I could better understand her. And we did break up a few months later for various reasons, including distance issues.
Womp womp.
And it was a breakup that took me 2 years to get over.
Oh, no.
But I've kept the CD. Even through the breakup, it became something that meant more to me about myself than about her. And I still listen to it often, including over this last week. And it remains the most special gift I've ever received from a love interest.
See, this is kind of tying back to what we were talking about in the date episodes when I was talking about going to Bodega Bay with you and doing like mixes and playlists.
For the road
playlists
trip.
are sweet. Like, I miss that. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Spotify and I love digital music in this age. I wouldn't trade it. But there is a little something that we lost because you used to really have to, even when you would burn CDs, like, you would still have to, like, curate it and really think about the song order and it was such a thoughtful thing. You know what I mean? It really had a lot of meaning imbued in it. And I just don't feel like you get as much of that anymore.
Okay, so you were like the king of mixtapes.
I
when
love
I first
myself
met you.
some mixtapes. Mixtapes are my love language.
His mixtapes are phenomenal.
Aw.
I mean, really,
Thanks, babe.
You could have been an excellent DJ because
Thanks,
the
babe.
songs are such a blend from all different genres, but they all go together so beautifully.
That's touching. Thank you, babe. That honors me. I've always been someone who communicates a lot through music. Like, music has always been something that I express myself a lot through. It's just something that I have an affinity for, you know?
I appreciate that about you. So, to that end, you give mixtapes to girls. You're the type.
Of course.
Were they well received?
Generally, yes. Generally, I'd say like 9 times out of 10, yes. Once in a while, it's just because she and I weren't really compatible, you know, and I was trying to force it, and it just wasn't happening. And it's just not the right feel, you know? Or they're just fucking lame, you know what I mean? They're just like, ew, what is this, you know? I remember this chick who I was really into, but the only band that she liked was Weezer. And that was really hard for me. Not because I don't like Weezer, but if that's the only band that you like, I don't know. That's like that person we knew who was like, my favorite band is the Talking Heads.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. Like, that is your favorite? Like, anything, you can listen to anything, and you listen to the Talking Heads?
Only.
All right, yeah, only. Strictly. Yeah. Like, okay, fuck. Sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yeah, Weezer, man. What
Yeah.
an interesting person.
Yeah, and I don't want to shit on Weezer. Like, I like Weezer, but like...
You need more...
Weezer is kind of a limited genre. To be like, I can only communicate my love through Rush. Or like, you know, it's like this... It's like, I don't know. Tom Sawyer? I don't know. No.
There was this guy that really wanted to date me, and it was when I was working at Nugget Market.
Oh, good old Nugget Market. Did he work there too?
No, he was a teacher.
Wow.
And he made me a mix CD that was so artful and beautiful, and I loved every song on there. It was an exceptional mix CD.
Nice. How much older? Or was he older?
Only a few years.
Okay.
Only a few years
so
older.
Not like a huge age gap. Okay.
No. And I remember my cousins, Chad and Katie, were away for some trip, and they asked me to watch their apartment in downtown Sacramento.
Okay.
And so I had the apartment to myself.
Nice.
And I invited this guy over to watch Mystery Science Theater 3K.
Nice.
Because he was also into it.
Sweet name drop.
And they had every episode. Right?
Nice.
And so I was like, look, we've got our pick. Like, come over. We'll hang out. And I was going to seal the deal with this guy. I liked him. I know he liked me so much.
I have never heard this story. I'm nervous. Biggest penis I've ever had.
No, he came over and we were watching it and it was getting pretty steamy and this was divine intervention.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I don't care. I got my period with such force.
With such magnitude.
Oh shit.
That he screamed and ran away. like,
it was crazy. It was like the scene out of The Shining.
he was like, do I have to drive you to the hospital? Are you okay?
But I was like...
Scene out of The Shining, the fucking elevator.
That sucked so bad because I had to switch gears like so abruptly.
Yeah,
I had to be like, you need to get the fuck out.
Yeah, this has been great. Get the fuck out of here. Don't touch me. Get out. Like, okay.
Oh, shoot. It was heartbreaking. And, you know, I think, honestly, after that, he didn't want to date me anymore.
Wow.
That was it.
Was it just because of the way that it ended?
You know, unfortunately, I think his ex found out he was dating and she came back. And so he got back with her. He said,
Exes.
I know. He said, I'm sorry. You know, she was my one that got away. I've got to give it a chance.
They probably broke up. Not long after that.
And I was like, man, if I hadn't gotten my period, who knows what would have happened. That teacher, me and that teacher could have really...
You guys could have had something really
together.
special. You could have built a very pretty, beautiful life together.
No, I really do feel like it was divine intervention. Because really I am so happy with you. You know? And I feel like these things happen to get these potential obstacles out of the way so that I could find you and end up with you.
Yeah,
you know?
that's pretty... I mean, for the record, if that had happened while we were on a date, I would have been fine with it. I would have been like, cool, I'll see you later. I'll call you in like a couple of days.
I know. You're a good man. You're a
class
act.
I would have stuck it out. That's a bummer that the ex came back in the picture, but I'm glad she did. In retrospect, I'm glad she did because otherwise, you know, what might have been. I know.
No, everything happened exactly as it should, but it was just that was one of the times where getting my period really ruined something for me. Okay, what are some terrible things that you've witnessed on Valentine's Day?
Oh no! Ah! All right, now we're going to end with the worst. Yeah. The worst of the worst. Let's dive into it.
On a bad note. You're welcome, everybody.
All right, let's dive into these fucking idiots.
Okay. There was a note in a reservation that there was going to be an engagement and they wanted champagne, a specific seat, bunch of other stuff. The server comes up to the table with something like, "So I read you're celebrating an engagement. Congratulations." Confusion from the woman, glaring from the guy. He hadn't proposed yet.
Oh, that's brutal. Oh, fuck.
That is a little brutal.
Fuck, she ruined it. Oh, bitch. You're not getting a tip. You're not getting a good tip.
No, you're not. You got a comp or meal.
Yeah.
Because I called ahead of time.
Yeah, I called ahead of time and I had this whole thing.
Set all these, yeah.
She fucking blew it. Although, you know what? I can imagine she probably felt fucking terrible. She probably was like, fuck, I ruined it.
Yeah.
I'm going to remember this forever.
These two were on a date, and the guy went to use the bathroom. The girl just up and leaves after he went to the restroom, and when the guy came back, he sat around for a while and asked the waitress where she went, and she replied with saying that the girl had left. And the guy then asked the waitress if she would like to go on a date with him. Aww. And she said no. Another time, a man proposed. She said no. He cried and tried to change her mind for 20 minutes while she sat there stony-faced. She finally got up and walked out, and he paid and left in tears.
Wow. Oh my god. Yeah. Holy shit. That chick is fucking thug life. Holy shit. Just that dude just pouring his soul out to you for 20 minutes, and you're just like, you pay for this shit, and then you just leave. That is fucking thug life. Honestly, that's pretty, like, gnarly. I'm not gonna lie.
I was a delivery driver for a fruit bouquet company that had 2 arrangements from the same guy. Routes were made for me and the truck was loaded, so there was no way I could mess this up. Delivered both arrangements to the appropriate addresses. I head back to the store to find the store owner and guy who sent those in an argument. This idiot put the wrong names attributed to the houses, and it was on the card with the arrangement along with the phone numbers, so both women called each other and then called the guy. He tried to say it was my fault, and then the person who took the order's fault, but he ordered it online. All we did was import the order. Yeah, he screwed it up, which was a slip. I think it was his subconscious.
Dude, also, that's just karma. It's just karma getting back to you for being a fucking asshole.
I had a section on Valentine's Day that had a marriage proposal, a 40th anniversary, and a breakup all at the same time.
Wow.
The breakup was the worst.
The contrast.
The guy brought his high-class date a gift, a mini ceramic bear holding balloons.
Huh.
And he presented it when I was at the table, and she looked at it like it was a hot turd.
Yeah.
Which is probably how I would look at it, too, to be honest.
Ceramic?
Bear holding
Why ceramic?
Balloons. I know. I don't think ceramic
it's like those
is
creepy
ever
little,
gift.
ceramic. Yeah, just don't give me ceramic or china.
I know.
Like, what is that? Or, those people who collect those little, ceramic figurines.
Yeah, what are those, precious moments?
Yeah, I don't want to judge people. That's, whatever you're into. I don't want to yuck your yum or rain on your parade. But that creeps me out, man. That creeps me out, and it's fucking weird. It's a fucking red flag for me. I'm just I don't want your little fucking ceramic trinkets. My house is already messy as it is without these fucking little things around.
You know what? I will say that about you. You are not a trinket person.
I'm not a trinket guy.
Yeah.
I don't like little trinkets. I'm messy. I don't fucking have, I can't track all this shit, and I don't want to. You track it. I don't want to do this. I already have a job.
I'm not a waiter, but I was a pastry chef at this big resort in Cape Cod. We got a special order from this guy who was coming in for his anniversary, Valentine's Day. He wanted his dessert to have "Will you marry me?" written on it so that he could pop the question when it came out. He called ahead of time and talked to everybody in the kitchen, even came in himself that morning to make sure it was good to go. The whole crew was behind him. We had cooks all night coming in and asking if it had happened yet.
Aww.
I wrote the inscription on the plate and dressed it to the nines with gold leaf and expensive chocolate. I'm taking pictures of the plate just before it's set out, and I notice our head waiter come in with a weird look on his face. He says plainly, "They don't need it." She broke up with him before the entrees hit the table.
Oh, no. What
Yikes.
a bitch.
Well, yeah, it wasn't meant to be.
No, I mean, and she, if you don't want to get married, you shouldn't get married.
shouldn't.
But that was, oh, man, you had a whole
rough timing.
Restaurant rooting for you. It's like in the romantic movie where you, run through the airport to get to the gate. And it's no, I want to break up anyway. And it's fuck! We thought we were going to see something magical. It's
Close,
fucking heartbreaking.
so
Yeah, so close. Swing and a miss.
I was eating at a fine dining establishment, Chili's, several years ago.
Upscale,
In the next booth was a really young guy who had a bunch of roses on the seat next to him. He kept looking at his watch, looking at the roses, popping open a ring box for a peek at the ring. He did this for half an hour or so and then began texting someone, presumably his girlfriend, over and over.
Aww.
And as we were waiting for our check, he hands my wife the roses, mumbles something, and walks out.
Aww.
No, don't you want to give that guy a hug?
I want to give that dude a hug, for sure. Bro. Bro. I'm sorry, man.
Sorry. Yeah. Back when I served food at one of the super touristy seafood restaurants, I worked a Valentine's Day double shift. For lunch, this younger couple came in celebrating their 1-year anniversary. I offer my congratulations and proceed to do my usual spiel before taking orders. The girl's looking more and more dismayed the longer I talk. Finally, I get to the end and ask if there are any allergies, and she looks directly at her boyfriend and states, "Yes, I'm allergic to fish and shellfish," and then looks at me very sad.
Oh, no.
I made sure every aspect of her meal was fine for her, but it was that look of, we've been dating for a year and he still takes me to restaurants that could kill me, that really did it for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big miss on his part.
And honestly, seafood restaurants are the easiest restaurants to avoid.
Yeah.
You have to go out of your way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like taking your vegan girlfriend to, a steakhouse.
A steakhouse.
It's dude.
You had so many other options.
Yeah, you had so many options, and it really goes to show, I think the bigger underlying issue there is that he clearly doesn't get her or doesn't care. It's which is it? Are you ignorant or you're just willfully malicious that you don't care about me, or you just are trying to kill me? Why the hell would you not know that after a year?
Yeah.
I'm sure she's brought it up before too, so it's
are you dumb?
Yeah, seriously. Are you just not good at listening?
Ex-barista here, some guy on Valentine's Day came in and asked us to write on the cup, "Will you marry me?" And it didn't go well.
Oh, no.
She looked at the couple. He was bent down on one knee. She said nothing. She put the cup back down and just walked away, shaking her head. And then he, on the other hand, got pissed and started a rant about how she should have gotten over him sleeping with her sister already. We had to ask him to
Wow! What? You slept with her sister?
A few years ago, I had finished my shift at a pub I was working at, and I sat at the bar with a drink. There were still a few couples sat in the restaurant, but the boss let me clock out early. I had a pint before leaving, and at a table nearby, I hear what sounds like a proposal about to happen. A few people went quiet listening to it, and then it happened. The guy said, "Hannah, will you marry me?" And he was kneeled in front of his girlfriend, with her sat down. And she said, "Hannah? Who the fuck is Hannah?" And she threw her drink on him and walked out. The guy paid and left looking very red.
Oh, shit.
Yikes.
Shit.
I know. That is a mess up, for sure.
That's a royal fuck up. You were willing to get married to this person, intertwine your souls and your finances, and before the eyes of the state and God, form a union, and you didn't even know her why? Why propose then? I just don't get it. Like, what did you think was going to be the best case scenario there? What did you think was going to be the best outcome, let alone the worst?
He wasn't thinking. It was an accident. He didn't mean to say Hannah.
I know, but even if he hadn't said Hannah, he clearly wasn't into her enough to be proposing, is my point. Like, if you don't even know enough to be able to coherently think about who you're proposing to and use her proper fucking name, you have no business being married to her. What the fuck are you thinking, dude?
I love that struck a nerve.
It's annoying. It's annoying to me where it's just like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, use your fucking brain.
Nerves, you're really stressed out. Anyway, I gotta keep going. I was hosting a really busy brunch place, and Valentine's Day was one of our busiest days. We had a full wait list with tons of people in the lobby, and this dude walks in with this huge teddy bear and a bouquet of roses.
Ooh, that's a risk.
He said he wanted to drop them off for my coworker, so I let her know he was there, but she was too busy running around, so it took a bit. And while waiting, a bunch of folks walked into and complimented him on how sweet he was to do that for his girlfriend and how jealous they were, and it was kind of cute. And when my coworker finally was able to come up front, there was a lot of aw and such. Again, we were so slammed, so she ran back after taking the items, and it was back to work for all of us. When it did die down, I asked her how long she was dating her boyfriend for, and she said, "He's not my boyfriend. He was a salesman where I just bought my car, and I think he got my workplace from the paperwork."
Yikes. What? That was bad. I mean, like, that's so creepy.
No, nobody do that.
Yeah, nobody do. I mean, it's crazy that we have to say that, but don't do that. Like, yeah, don't do that. That's super sketchy.
Okay, last one. A guy and his date came in for Valentine's Day. They had a great time, ate a lot of food, drank a lot of wine, and got along really well with my coworker, who was their server. About 2 months later, they came back and requested my coworker again, who happily says yes to serving them. He goes up and greets them, the guy introduces his wife to him, and my coworker mentioned something about how he enjoyed serving them on Valentine's Day, and they go quiet. The wife gets up and leaves, and the guy just lowers his head, because it turns out he had brought his mistress in on Valentine's Day, and my coworker didn't realize he was with a different woman this time around and didn't think anything of it.
Ooh,
and we never saw the guy again.
Yikes.
One thing that I'm going to take away from all these, a lot of proposals on Valentine's Day. A lot of proposals. I think that that's cool.
I think what we also can pull from that is don't take your wife to the same place you take your mistress.
Don't take your wife to
Keep your mistress and your wife in separate places.
Separate places.
If you're going to have a mistress, I
feel like the etiquette is to take your mistress to a worse part of town.
Yeah.
To more of the sketchy places.
Yeah, you take your mistress to Chili's. You take your wife to a real restaurant. You know what I mean? No offense to Chili's.
Yeah. So anyway, I think it's cool that you can propose on Valentine's Day because you're celebrating that day romantically anyway. You can be like, oh, it's the day we got engaged.
I guess. I just feel like I love Valentine's Day. I just feel like it's really hard to pull off a proposal on Valentine's Day without it feeling utterly contrived and cliche. Like I don't think I personally would have proposed to you on Valentine's Day. It just seems contrived. And I know that fuck me, who cares? Like, why does my opinion matter? It just, to me personally, in my opinion, I just feel like it would be way too cliche. And you'd just be like, oh my God. Like, especially if I had like a giant teddy bear and shit. It's like, it's just so cliche. It's just like, it's like something out of a movie, for fuck's sake. Like, it's just not original.
Also out of a movie, he did propose on Thanksgiving.
I did propose on Thanksgiving. Actually, the week of Thanksgiving. And that's much more random. You didn't see that coming. You didn't see that shit coming.
No, that's fair. I think that my best Valentine's Day was the year I filled our house with pink and red balloons.
Aww.
And I got you those naughty chocolate-covered strawberries.
Nice.
And cologne.
Those
do you remember that?
I do remember that. That was a good time. That was a good time. That was a great Valentine. Was that at our first house?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, I remember that with all the balloons and stuff. Aw.
And I guess our worst was last year, and I know you took it a little personally because I didn't get you anything.
I did take it personally.
I know, this is a man that appreciates a gesture.
I do.
And I'm willing to bet, I did a lot of research for this, obviously, and time again, it's come up. If you do something very thoughtful for your boyfriend, husband, partner, he's going to remember it. It's
true.
It's going to stay with him. It's going to be... There were so many guys that were lamenting that nobody has ever gotten them anything for Valentine's Day or done anything sweet for them or put any thought into it. And I think that guys really appreciate being romanced. But they'll tell you, I don't want anything, I don't need anything. They'll tell you.
Yeah.
But they really, on some level, I think, are hoping
it's men, in this case, I would argue, are a lot like women when it comes to that, in that we don't want to tell you that we want you to do it, because then you're doing it because we told you we wanted you to do it. We want you to do it because you authentically want to, and you care about us, and you want to express that, and that's what men appreciate, like, and it's true, we almost never get flowers, we almost never get trinkets or gifts or like little surprises, it's society usually demands the opposite. We need to be the givers, we need to be the providers over and over and over. And it's easy to take people for granted. So boys do appreciate it when somebody goes out of their way to give us a little. It doesn't have to be big, but it's just something that shows genuine affection. Men really do remember that. We take note of that shit. We write that down.
And you are worth it, my love.
Not last year. Sorry. It's my one swipe. I get one.
I'm always thinking about you.
I know you are. I forgive you. It's okay. I love you.
And
I'm just
I
breaking
love
your balls.
So much.
I love you too.
And you're my favorite person, and I owe everything to you.
So. I owe everything to you, baby. We couldn't do it without each other. I'm really grateful for everything that we've done together. And I'm grateful that we have Valentine's Day coming up. It's going to be fun this year.
It is.
Yeah, we'll make up for it.
I think it'll be another good one.
I think so too.
And as always, I really appreciate you doing this with me.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. I'm happy for us to be able to finally get this on video. This is fun. This is nice.
I know. We'll see how this turns out. I have no idea. This is an experiment.
Yeah, we're just giving it a try.
All right. Well, if anyone has anything to ask or contribute, as always, it's going to be plotamorepodcast@gmail.com.
Night, y'all.